Hello again. Today I want to talk to you about a really important skill for your relationship. This skill is called the relationship check-in. So, it turns out a lot of couples that I work with really struggle to talk to each other, like on a day-to-day basis, at a level deeper than surface. So what's surface level talk, right? Surface level talk is when you're really only sharing like what you did today. You talk a little bit about work. You talk maybe a little bit about the kids, but it doesn't go in depth. And so what a relationship check-in is, it's a conversation that's structured, that's meant to go in depth. I call it therapy outside of therapy. You know, without me watching you basically, because it's always different when a therapist is there, right? So here's how you do it. You set up time on a regular basis to talk with your partner. You make sure you're alone because it is meant to be for you as a couple. No kids, there needs to be enough time. I actually suggest that people give themselves at least an hour to 2 hours, because even in my therapy sessions, I've been offering hour-and-a-half sessions because I've realized that even at 45 minutes, all you start to do is scratch the surface. But if you go that extra 45 minutes or extra on your own, you find that couples get into the more depthy conversations. They start really covering the issues. So if you're going to do a relationship check-in, I deeply encourage you to spend longer than an hour with each other and make sure there's almost 2 to 3 hours if possible. Then, when you sit on the couch together or in bed, because you're allowed to be in bed or on 2 chairs, it is good to be close. I think it's important to be sharing some kind of affection during this time, like holding hands or even just being next to each other, because that communicates I'm here and I want to listen. So like that's the next piece is when you come to a relationship check-in, be willing to listen and hear your partner out. Be willing to share things about what's been going on in your life. So one thing I've been telling my couples to do is do a scan. Like think of any emotions you've been feeling over the last week. Is it, what have you been afraid of? What have you struggled with? What have you been angry about? What have you been just kind of, what's rubbed you the wrong way maybe this week? It doesn't all have to be negative. It can be positive things too. What are you proud of? What have you appreciated from your partner? What are you apologetic about? You know, sometimes you made a mistake or you worry about how you treated somebody. So anyhow, by doing that, then you kind of come to the table with some ideas for what you want to discuss. So then the next step is, if you're both willing to listen, actually discuss those things. Start sharing. Take turns to listen to each other. Don't make it all about you. Don't make it all about them. And start covering those topics and trying to be there for each other. The big thing you can do as a partner when they are talking to you is to listen. Really try to understand where they're coming from. Validate them. What's validating mean? It might be like, hey, I could see where you're feeling that way. I've felt that way before. I struggle with those things too. That's a validation. It's meant to communicate out loud to your other partner that you understand where they're coming from and you could get a sense of what that would feel like. So validate, that's a piece of it. Commiserate, you can share stories of how you two have gone through a situation like that. But if you're really trying to be a good listener, you're not using the story to draw the conversation away from them at that time. You're just trying to commiserate to illustrate that you understand what that would feel like and then go back to their point so that you're going back and forth and it feels like you're still trying to communicate to them that you want to listen and hear where they're coming from. And then a good way to end this kind of conversation, this relationship check-in, is to encourage each other, be thankful, be appreciative, and hug each other. Like, you want to end a relationship check-in on a positive note. So connect, tell each other you love one another, and hug. I really encourage you guys to hug. Kiss if you want to as well, but it's a really deeply intimate conversation. And couples who are doing this on a regular basis, especially in therapy, but even outside of therapy, you don't have to be having something specifically wrong to deal with. You can just be sharing little things day to day. But couples who do this seem to feel a little closer to one another. So I encourage you to try the relationship check-in on a regular basis in your relationship. Thank you for listening, and join me every week where I offer free relationship and sex education tips here. And please like and subscribe, as I'm putting these YouTube videos out all the time. Thank you.